Well, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the DC Capstone Report. It's great to be back with you this week for another podcast on Alabama football. Coming off a loss to the Texas Longhorns this past Saturday, not the result that any of us was expecting, and definitely not the result that we were hoping for in this game. But it is a loss, but there's some things that we can learn from it and move on to the next game. But thanks again for all of you tuning in this week. I want to thank Lance Shores. He is the one that makes this happen each and every week, producing it back there in the studio, and he couldn't be possible without him working with me on this podcast each and every week, and I really appreciate him. And I want you to go out and look at his websites, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com, for some great pictures and some great Alabama content. Well, today on the podcast, in the first segment, we're going to review the Texas game. In the second segment, we're going to talk about our players of the game. And in the third and final segment, we'll preview the upcoming game against the South Florida Bulls. You're listening to the DC Capstone Report. The DC Capstone Report is featured each Tuesday morning on the Martin Houston Show at Tide 100.9. You can listen live at Tide100.9.com. Well, welcome back to the Alabama podcast, DC Capstone Report. We are glad you tuned in today. Please go out there and like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook. Go to our website, dccapstonereport.com. You can check us out there. You can hear us on YouTube. So really, again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of our listeners, and glad when you interact. Hope that you'll like and share this out there so that other people can hear the podcast as well. Well, here in the first segment, we're going to review the Texas game. As I said earlier, it was not the outcome any of us expected, and definitely not the outcome that we were hoping for. Alabama takes a loss there at Texas. Here in Bryant-Denny Stadium, Texas comes in, does what they want to do. They wanted to snap the win streak. They snapped the win streak. They beat us on our home turf, something that very rarely done. And it came away with a victory 34-24 against Alabama. Alabama has fell in the polls to number 10, and Texas has jumped up to number 4. So didn't fall out of the top 10. That's a really good thing after this game. So let's review this game, see what we can learn from it, and how it will help us down the road. First thing in this game, we didn't do any of the things that I said we needed to do. My analysis of what we needed to do in order to win this game, and we weren't able to do any of those things. First of all, we had too many mistakes. Let's go over just several of them. First of all, the penalties. The penalty bug came back again. We had a large number of penalties in this game that were mistakes that we shouldn't have made. We had 2 touchdowns that were called back for penalties. We got to get the penalties cleaned up. We can't continue to make mistakes in penalties and lose that many yards, lose that many opportunities. No way in this game can we have two touchdowns called back and expect to win this game, because on top of the penalty, the second thing that we had was too many turnovers. Turnovers were critical in this game. Jalen Milroe threw in the pass coverage 2 times and just wasn't able to see the safety. Safety baited him or whatever. Couldn't read the safety. We just made 2 bad throws, and they were picked off. You can't give Texas more opportunities for play, and they did. More plays they could make, and they made plays and scored off of those turnovers. So those turnovers are critical in the game. You can't have that many turnovers and expect to win a ball game. So those have got to get cleaned up. And the other mistake that I saw, which was glaring in my eyes, was the missed opportunities that we had on offense due to poor snaps from the center in the shotgun or pistol formation. Now, as many of you know, I do this podcast because of my best friend, Gary Shores. Gary Shores, left us too early in life, passed on unexpectedly, and we continue on this podcast with his brother, Lance Shores, you hear me talk about a lot. But Gary Shores, my best friend since junior high school, he was a center. And one thing he taught me about how important a center was on a team, and he always said the most important job a center has is making sure he gets the ball clean to the quarterback. And in Gary's day, there was a lot more under center, but he also had some snaps that were in the shotgun, and that's what we're seeing more today. Well, the snaps that we had in this game, I focus on those because even with the mistakes, even with the turnovers, had we connected on a touchdown pass that was clearly effective because of a bad snap, or we'd had been able to extend plays on third down because of bad snaps that we had, I think they were effective. We still could have been in this ball game with a chance to win this game. The one play I talked to you about, I know my listeners out there are very smart, you're very savvy, football-minded people. It's not normal to have, it's maybe normal to have one bad snap in a game, but we had like 10 or 12 bad snaps in this game. And when I say bad, just because they don't roll back there on the ground doesn't mean it's a good snap. I mean, the positions of the snaps, even the ones that were in the air, were not good for the quarterback. So I explain it this way. Gary always told me that if a center is making bad snaps, then he's got his mind or focus on the wrong thing. His focus should be on the first thing, was snapping the ball. That's the most critical thing. If you don't get that ball in the quarterback's hands, you can't make a play. The second thing then is you move to your position for blocking. It seems like what we're doing is the center in this game and in other games is so focused on blocking or so focused on the opponent or the scheme or the calling the plays or setting the plays that it's lack of attention to detail of getting the ball there. So I think something's got to be done to clean up that. The play that I'm talking about is the wheel right to Jace McClellan, which would have been a touchdown, clearly a touchdown, if it had been thrown correctly. And you can blame Jalen Miller all you want to for that, but I blame the center. I blame the effect of what the center did. The ball wasn't there. He had to take his eyes off downfield. He had to go down the ground to pick up the ball. He came up in a hurry. He was thinking he was going to be rushed because he had been rushed all night. And he came up in a hurry throwing the ball, and he didn't get enough air under the ball. I believe if that ball had been perfectly placed with a perfectly placed snap in his gut, while his eyes were downfield, he had been able to see that play, got the play off at a much better scenario there with a lot more air under it to a touchdown. And that could have been a turning point in the game. So I think some of these snaps we've got to get cleaned up. What's the problem? I don't know. I only know what Gary used to say. I think the focus is too much by the center on his whole orientation is blocking, and he should be focused on getting the ball to the quarterback and then getting eyes on your opponent. I know you got to multitask there as a center, but your number one job ought to be able to get the ball clean to the quarterback. So too many mistakes in this game. Too many mistakes. Center snap mistakes, turnover mistakes by the quarterback on throwing in the back, bad passes in the coverage, and too many penalties. So those are some of the problems that I saw in the game. The other thing is we didn't get any push on the line of scrimmage, and I mean both sides of the line of scrimmage. One of the things I said was you have to get a push. You got to win the line of scrimmage. I don't think we did that in either side of the ball. We didn't get much push on the defensive side at all. I don't think we pressured the quarterback very much in this game. I don't remember if we ever touched the quarterback and affected him in many ways. I know he had more time than usual to get the ball down the field because he got a lot of deep throws. And if we had been pressuring him at any point, he wouldn't have time to get those deep throws, see his players coming open. So we got to do a better job on our defensive line of pressuring the quarterback. And I don't know where that starts. Coach Saban said it starts with coaching. It starts with players, everything. So I think we need to reevaluate on the defensive line on how we're coaching, what our players are executing, and what are we doing to try to get pressure on the quarterback. We're going to have to put some pressure. And I think on the offensive line, our quarterback was running for his life all night long. He didn't have time to make reads. He didn't have time to make a decision. He tried to stay in the pocket longer, like people are wanting to do to make progression reads. But the longer he stayed, the more opportunity he was caught and hit and sacked. So our offensive line didn't do a good job of winning it up front. Our defensive line lost the battle up front as well. And third and finally, the third thing I think that we didn't do in this game that we should have been able to do if we wanted to win, and that is third down efficiency. We were not efficient on third down. What I mean by that, we didn't get off the field on third down when we had opportunities to make a stop on defense. We take the lead. We have played horribly all game. We go down. Jalen Milroe makes some great plays, and we take the lead. We couldn't stop them once we took the lead. I mean, 3 plays, and they're back down scoring on our end to go back ahead within a matter of a minute. We've got to get off the field on third down. We've got to stop them when we have opportunities. Our defense has to bow up to do that. So There were several times in this game where we had an opportunity to get off the field on third down, and they extended the plays. And then there was late in the game, once we got the lead, our defense didn't bow up at all. It was 3 plays and they were down the field. So we got to do a better job on defensively. We were told the defense was going to be different. It was going to be more aggressive, and we didn't see that in this game. So we've got to do a better job on third down, especially on defense. On offense, we got to do a better job. We've got to do a better job of setting ourselves up to be able to run the ball so that we have shorter distance on third down. We were behind the sticks a lot in this because of penalties, because of mistakes, because of lack of dedication and commitment to the running the game. I think in this game we had opportunities to run the ball. When we ran the ball, we made yards, but we went away from that very quickly. Instead of running the ball and using Milroe's legs to be an additional runner and an additional threat, we didn't do that. We went away from that. So I was worried about the play calling that got us in some bad third down positions. So basically my review of the game, I give Texas a lot of credit. They came in, they did what they had to do. They beat us on our home turf, something that I didn't think that would be possible, but they did, and they executed. And I want to say this. I want to give Sark, he out-coached our coaches in this game. He had Texas like he had Alabama in the 2020 championship game against Ohio State. He had Alabama playing so well in that game and ahead of the game, ahead of the other side, that our players were running wide open because Mac Jones had plenty of time to throw the ball. That's exactly what happened in this game. He had Quinn Ewers with so much time to throw the ball because of the pre-snap movement and our players trying to cover instead of rushing. That players were able to get open late and make throws. So I give kudos to Coach Sark. He did a great job. We got out-coached in this game. So that's my review. Too many penalties, too many mistakes, not enough push on the defensive front or the offensive front. Couldn't get off the field on third down, no third down efficiency, and we got out-coached by Coach Sark in this game. So what we can do to learn from it because we got another game to play this coming week. Everything is still on the table for this Alabama football team that we wanted to play for. Still can win an SEC championship, still can make the playoff, and still can win the national championship if we can turn this around and use this game to learn from our mistakes and make sure we don't make them again. Well, we're back on the DC Capstone Report. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to move right to the second segment of our Players of the Game. Before we do that, I want to thank our sponsors, RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com. Be sure and check out Lance's sites there to get you some good Alabama content for the games. And our other sponsor that makes this possible each and every week is Karen Cottingham with the Williams Group at Keller Williams. Karen Cottingham is a great realtor here in Tuscaloosa, but she is available for your real estate needs across the entire state of Alabama. If you want to come to Tuscaloosa and you get that condo for your child or for a game day, she can do that. If you're relocating here, she can do that. But if you're in Birmingham or North Alabama or South Alabama, she can definitely help you with your real estate needs. She does great care and a great service for her clients. So that's Karen Cottingham with the Williams Group at Keller Williams. Phone number is 205-887-4008. Or you can check out all of her inventory at www.karen.thewilliamsgroupal.com. Again, that's www.karen.thewilliamsgroupal.com. Karen Cottingham, Realtor, 205-887-4008 for all your real estate needs. Well, we're back here on the second segment, Players of the Game. And quite frankly, I usually have 2 or 3 players on each side of the ball, but in this particular game, I don't think that there was that many outstanding players because of the way we played. Now, I'm not downing our players. I'm just because of the way we played this game, there wasn't a lot of outstanding play for our players. But I did have a couple of players, one on offense and one on defense, that I think really committed, sold out, did a great job in this game. And number one on offense, I think Jace McClellan had one of the better games that he's had as running the ball. But I don't think he was given great opportunities. But I didn't want to. I wanted to highlight him because when he had an opportunity, he took advantage of it. He averaged almost 4 yards per carry, which if you give the ball to a back and he gets 4 yards every carry, then you're making a first down every third down. So we just didn't give him enough touches, I think, in this game. He was open on the wheel route, and we missed him for a touchdown, and we went away from him running the ball. But really, Jace McClellan upped his game in this game. He made a couple of good blocks to help the quarterback have more time, and he was able to get out and run the ball really well. So Jace McClellan from Texas is my offensive player of this game. My defensive player of this game was a player that was all over the field, coming off of an injury, really came in and played excellent in this game, and that is Malachi Moore. A senior, can tell he's got the instinctive play. He was playing coverage on pass breakups. He really supported well in the run game. We held Texas to right at 100 yards rushing. He was really good on the run support, causing some turnovers. Although that we didn't get the turnover, he did knock the ball loose a couple of times, and really did a good job in coverage as well. So Malachi Moore is my defensive player of the game. So in this game against Texas, my offensive player of the game is Jace McClellan, and my defensive player of the game is Malachi Moore. All right, we're back on the DC Capstone Report. Welcome back. Thanks again for tuning in and listening. The third segment of the game is a preview of the South Florida Bulls. It's the next game on the schedule, folks, and it's our first road game of the year. Going to South Florida, going to play in Raymond James Stadium, a NFL stadium, against the South Florida Bulls. And going in this game, Alabama goes in ranked number 10, following the number 10, still a top 10 team. Remember what I said before, still with everything on the table to play for. So our biggest challenge in this game is, can we bury the Texas game, learn from it, but not let it affect us how we play in this game. And I believe Coach Saban has always been true to his word. He said he was going to go back and he was going to self-assess the coaches, the players, the game plan, everything. So I think he'll do that in this game. So I believe that we'll come out with a better game plan, better understanding of what we need to do against South Florida, because there's, like I said, everything is still on the table. We're going to start our SEC play the next week back here at home, and we got to have an opportunity to go out there in South Florida and make a statement, make a difference, so that we come back and be ready for SEC play. So we pray we don't have any letdown on this game. So what do we need to do? Well, the number one thing that everybody's asking is there going to be a change at quarterback? I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be a change at quarterback. I would say my opinion would be no, and the reason I make that opinion based on what happened in this game. Coach Saban didn't change Jalen Milroe out. He mentioned. He praised him in the post-press conference. He said that he had done a good job on certain things, made some bad throws. He also said that there was no discussions pre-game as for a quarterback change if something were to go wrong. There was no discussion during the game with any of the other coaches about changing. He thought about should they make a change, but there was no discussion pre. So I don't think that was on their mind going in, that if they got in a bad spot, they were going to have to go to a certain guy. So that tells me that there's nobody right now that's that guy that's even close to coming in and making a difference in the game. We got good quarterbacks, but there's no great quarterback. The best one we got is Jalen Milroe. In this game, the decision was made to leave him in even after he threw 2 bad picks. And to me, that tells you they're going to ride or die with Jalen Milroe. So I believe in this particular game, we'll see Jalen Milroe. If we get a lead, we might see some of the other quarterbacks try to get some game time experience so they can get them to a point of coming in. So I still think it's Jalen Milroe's job, and we'll see how it goes against the South Florida team. And I could be completely wrong. They may go back and assess inwardly and find out that, hey, they got somebody they want to try. They may try them in this game. So I could be wrong. But that's my assessment as we sit here today of what happened and what took place in the Texas game, and what Coach Saban said afterwards about the job that Jalen Milroe was doing, and how he didn't change his attitude, didn't change his appearance, didn't let it affect him mentally in this game of the poor play that he had. So let's see if he can bounce back in this game against South Florida. Well, what do we have to do? The 3 things I've been telling you all year: we got to clean up the mistakes. We got to get better. We got to go back to what we were doing in the first game of the year. Bury this Texas game. Learn from it. Don't let it affect us in this game. So we got to clean up those mistakes, and we got to get I believe we got to get that solved on the snap. We got to get that snap solved. If we keep seeing snap problems in this game, then we're going to have to do something about that snap. That's critical to get the snap to the quarterback. Because if we don't have the ball, we can't make a play on offense, and if it disrupts our rhythm, the snap disrupts our rhythm, is not good. So we got to clean up that snap. So look for that to be cleaned up. we got to clean up our penalties, not make as many penalties, and we got to limit our mistakes on offense. Can't turn the ball over, can't throw the ball into coverage when we know that we can get intercepted. So I don't believe crowd noise will be a big factor in this game, simply because it's a large stadium at Raymond James Stadium in South Florida. It doesn't sell out that stadium. There may be a large number of Alabama fans that make the trip to Florida, Tampa, to see this game. So I'm not sure that there'll be a crowd noise problem. But we need to be able to navigate on the road, make sure we go through all of our progressions on the road on what we do to do a road game, because it'll be our first one of the year. We don't want to have that cause us any problems. So I believe if we clean up the mistakes and on offense, we can make some better plays. I think we see us winning this game pretty handily. Second thing is we look for our O-line to do better and our defensive line to get a better push. First of all, on the offensive line, in my opinion, I think they've got Tyler Booker playing out of position at left tackle. I've said this before. I think he needs to be moved back to left guard. He needs to be moved back to right guard where he's comfortable playing next to J.C. Latham, and I think that would enhance our running game. And I think we need to be more committed to the running game, move him back, and make sure we can run off that right side. And then give Terrence Ferguson a look out there at left tackle, left guard, to help our freshman tackle who had some issues in this game, Caden Proctor. So I think that if you maybe give Elijah Pritchett a look during this game, maybe give Dallin Dalcourt a look at tackle and Terrence Ferguson at guard, some combination of look for something to be changed up on the offensive line and try to get a better gel of play. On the defensive line, we've got to have more push up front. And that starts with the coaches, I think. It starts with the defensive line coaches, the defensive philosophy. We got to get a more push up front with the defensive line. And then our linebackers have got to see more blitzing in this game to not give the quarterback time to throw the ball downfield. And I believe if we do that, we have a really good chance to get this game and win it handily. Third thing I think is third down. We got to get off the field on third down defense. We got to stop them, get off the field, give our players more opportunities on offense. The more opportunities we have on offense, the better opportunity we're going to have a chance to win this game and get ahead pretty quickly. We've got to run the ball. We got to be committed in this game to run the ball more to set up the pass. So we got to see more running the ball to set up our play action passing. So look for that. I'd love to get a big lead in this game and get another quarterback in the game to give them some game time experience and really let them run an offense instead of just handing off and running the ball. So I'd love to see us do that in this game, but there's no guarantee that'll happen. But I think there's an opportunity for us to do that in this game. So I think Alabama goes down to South Florida early on, knocks off the cobwebs from the Texas game, and comes out prepared to play, does a good job. I think we come away with a victory in this game. I think Alabama will win this game 48-17. Well, that's this week's podcast. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to the DC Capstone Report this week. It's always difficult to do a good analysis after a loss like we had, but I think if we learn from that loss in Texas, like I said before, we'll be able to accomplish everything we want to is still ahead of us, and we can accomplish all those things if we get back and clean up the mistakes we made in the Texas game. All right, thank you again for tuning in this week. Look forward to hearing and seeing each one of you next week back on the line here for the DC Capstone Report. That's all this week. This is DC signing off for the Big Roll Tide.